All right, this video is going to be pretty short. It's and easy. All the Republicans and people on the right that you see on Twitter and a lot of these other forums, Facebook, whatever. Everybody that's clutching their pearls with the Democrats about the whole lynching thing. Let's just remember that the next time a Democrat gets accused of something, or it doesn't even have to be some racism or racist things or something like this that isn't even racism. That's just something to dive on. Let's just remember that they're going to let their side go with this, or they're going to add some nuance to their side, and they're going to say, that we have to look at the context. Well, what's the definition? And if you look at the definition of lynching, well, there you go. So anyway, that's really my video. I mean, it's really pretty easy, and I'm going to throw in a couple of clips after this of Democrats using the word lynching, and nobody ever said anything about it. It was okay. And the Democrats take up. See, this is the thing. The Democrats take up for theirs, and I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying that you take up for a Republican whenever, if a Republican does something that's distasteful or whatever, that you don't say anything about it. When Steve King said what he said about whether you don't see anything wrong with white supremacy or whatever the hell he said, there was a bunch of Republicans jumped on him, censored him or whatever they did, and took him off all his committees and stuff like that, whatever. Whenever a Democrat does something, Elizabeth Warren or whoever, or any of their candidates, it could be something with Elizabeth Warren does. People are taken up for the fact that she lied on her application and said that she's of Native American heritage. That's not right. Kamala Harris, even though she was called out by Tulsi Gabbard for laughing about her using marijuana while she's putting people in jail as a prosecutor. And, everybody just, their side makes excuses for that. What I'm trying to say is that do not be, make it a really, really big point that they're being hypocritical. They don't really care about all of these things. Ralph Northam, blackface. Megyn Kelly gets booted for saying she doesn't see anything wrong with darkening your face for Halloween, and she didn't even actually do it. And suddenly she's taken off of her show. That's all I'm saying. Let's make sure that you hold their feet to the fire. But all these people sitting back, clutching their pearls with the Democrats, said, "Oh God, I can't believe he said such a thing. You're a ruffian." Absolutely amazing that you got people that would dogpile, all while their side will sit there and take up for their side, even though they know what they did, that if it was a Republican doing exactly what they got caught doing, that it would be a big front page news thing. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and check out these little clips that I've downloaded here.
Even if the president should be impeached, history is going to question whether or not this was just a partisan lynching or whether or not it was something that, in fact, met the standard, the very high bar that was set by the founders as to what constituted an impeachable offense.
Do you believe the House of Representatives with the current Republican?
The same atmosphere that existed after Reconstruction, when the period of reclamation started, the first Congressional Black Caucus, which was as significant as the first black president at the time, these were former slaves in Congress, were met with voter disenfranchisement and violence, lynchings of innocent people. The first black president, and what we might consider the second Reconstruction after Selma, his administration has been met with voter suppression again. We're reliving that. And a more sophisticated form of lynching. Many of us see no disparity between Emmanuel Nye and Trayvon Martin and Jordan Davis and Renisha McBride and Michael Brown and Eric Garner. All of that is part of the same thing.
I call this the nightmare before Christmas. And the American people find it difficult to believe that here we are on this day talking about impeaching a president who just came back from the Middle East almost with a peace accord. This is not about impeaching Bill Clinton. This is about trying to roll back the clock. This is about impeaching affirmative action, impeaching women's rights. This is about taking America back rather than moving it forward. I know how I'm going to vote. My people have told me I will not disregard the people who elected me. 70% of them have said to me, protect the president. Vote to keep this president in office. So I will not vote for this nightmare before Christmas. I will not vote for this lynching in the people's house. I will vote against these resolutions.
Little did I expect that 10 months later I would have to cast a vote that was certain to become one of the most important in my life. I intend to vote against each of these articles of impeachment. My reasons are neither partisan, nor do they reflect my distaste and dissatisfaction with the president's behavior. Instead, my votes are a protest against an unfair process. The inequities in the impeachment process have been glaring. The Republicans started with Whitewater. They found nothing. Ken Starr then went to Travelgate. He found nothing. He looked at Foulgate. He never released documents. In fact, he made no effort to publicly admit to the lack of evidence against the president. Instead, he developed relationships with the Jones legal team and withheld this information from the Justice Department. Rather than disclosing his bias to the proper parties, Mr. Starr was now working and others to set up the president. What we are doing here is not a prosecution, it's a persecution. And indeed, it is a political lynching. The Republicans are political lynching. The Republicans have had no agenda for over a year. And with this act today, they are signaling that they have no agenda for the future. Rather than working together in a bipartisan manner on issues we need. The people want censure and move on.